Morning guys. If you had a precious 16-year-old son who went out one Saturday and happened to call into somewhere he used to work and he ended up getting murdered on a Saturday, I think it was pretty sure it was a Saturday night if memory serves, how long would you expect him to be in jail for? Well, as usual in Britain, the killer of this young man, Jason Mayze, I'll put a link underneath, and a young fellow starting his life. Yes, this Bangladeshi born guy from a certain ideology, he moved here when he was a baby, should make that clear. Pretty sure he was the business owner of this curry house, and this young man used to work for him, and he was out with friends. It transpired anyway that this young man was in some sort of argument with the owner or cook. It says cook, I'm sure he was the owner, they always are, and they ended up suffering 3 serious knife wounds. One of them was 16 centimetres long under his arm. I reckon personally that as we know he used to work for them, I think they owed him wages and he was determined not to pay him, and he was determined to get it, quite rightly, because you see, in their ideology they're taught that we're scum, we're the lowly kuffar, we're grossly inferior, we're stupid. But these people that still wipe the bottoms with their left forefinger because a certain guy did in 7th century. They really do. You know, they're too mean to buy toilet paper or soap. I know this for a fact, by the way. So, you know, it's all of these curry houses and these Just Eat takeaways, the vast majority of them do not have any soap or water or anything for them to wash their hands. That's how filthy they are. But anyway, this young guy lost his life at the hands of one or several of these MM people, and subsequently the killer was given a 3-year jail sentence. He was out in 2 years and a couple of months after killing a 16-year-old locked inside a curry house in St Helens, I think it is, St Helens paper. Well, you can imagine, went to court and he was supposed to be getting prosecuted for murder, and at the last minute the CPS and the police bent over backwards, told the mother, Angie, that oh no, they were just going to do him for second-degree homicide, manslaughter, which is much minor, and they basically blamed it all on him. They said he was trying to steal a box of chicken wings or something. Well, I reckon personally they owed him a load of money, and under their ideology they've got every right to cheat him, to kill him, to cheat us, to kill us. You know, this is how it's written. It is written. That's the favourite saying they use, isn't it? It is written. Well, it is written. But they have the right to rob us, to attack our kids, take our kids as slaves, and basically just maltreat us. And this is what, if ever Sharia law comes law in the UK, this is what will happen. We will all be, lose our houses, lose our wealth, and they will have the right to take our kids by force of arms. And of course, if we get in the way, we will be killed. This is what their ideology teaches. The grief-stricken mother of a teenager who died after he was knifed 2 years ago spoken of her fury, I don't blame her, after Buzar Udin, his knife killer, was released on the 2nd anniversary of her son's death. It's got pictures of him on holiday in Spain. It reminds me, actually looking at his picture, he reminds me of me when I was like 18. He looks a bit like me. To be honest, a very, very sad loss, wasn't it? You can imagine how gutted his parents were. But you see, the family wasn't a well-off family. They weren't career cops, and they weren't architects or solicitors. They were just ordinary working people getting on with their life. He was a keen Liverpool Football Club supporter, and he was learning a profession at college. Yeah. It was alleged at the time that Udin had confronted Jason, 16, who had a box of food under his arm, a claim that has always been vehemently denied by Angie Mayze. Well, he can say what the hell he wants, isn't he? Because none of his followers, none of his staff who are dependent on him for wages and what have you, and are probably under the thumb, probably really controlled, are allowed to say a word against him. This is the thing. You know, one Englishman sees another Englishman do something terrible and he will give witness. But these guys aren't allowed to. If you do that, they're condemned to eternal hellfire. And any guilt they feel is always relieved, because the next time they go to their mosque, as long as they go and listen quietly to the imam's preachings, imam's nonsense, all their sins for the past week are forgiven. Even murder, even paedophilia, it's all forgiven. So clean slate for next week. Don't worry about the load of people you've murdered last week. Don't worry about all the poor kids you've ruined the lives of or attacked. It's all forgiven as soon as you go to the mosque. So I'd just like to give a quick mention to this poor dude. I never met him. I never met him at all. I did speak to his mother briefly. This would be a good case for certainly the injustice of that. He was attacked. He was attacked probably because this owner, this Bussar Udin, whatever his name is, did not want to pay him the wages he owed. That's the fact of the matter. And the CPS and the police, as usual, bent over backwards to help him out. Oh, he's only a working class lad. They can't afford to take us to High Court. They can't afford the 60 grand fees to mount an appeal. Oh, it's more than that. Just give him the minimum, let him off. This guy will be working, he's from Rochdale, this Bussar Udin. He'll be working in Rochdale if he's not dead. I know what I'd like. If I had a 16-year-old son, and I'd expect it, and he was taken from me, I'd expect him to serve a lot longer than 2 years, 2 months in jail. Okay, see you guys, bye bye.